dude. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sound is fucked.
Sure.
Hello, my name is Kevin Bateman, and this is With Me and Your Breath, St Anthony's Well, Edinburgh, Scotland. This poem is called Love and Scream. Colour, depth, the forbidden sadness. I do not feel alive. Free your body from these lies. Tell yourself, little spider, butterflies crawled all over my face. Suck life from my soul. And I give you Zara Munro. Thanks, babe.
This is two oaths. Maybe sometime in getting help, moving on, moving forward, whatever that entails. Maybe sometime in coming back to this hand that feeds. I've been searching for consistency, something in this relentless back and forth that'll make it all worth it. I tell my friend I have this thing seeding on my tongue, only I don't know how to feed it, and don't know if I should, if I can. They say not to feed dangerous things. They always come back. This heart beast-stripping hunger from a gaping wound in the hind leg. I tell my friend I'm moving furniture about in a dark room, which is to say, I'm grieving, without knowing what for, or knowing, but not wanting to admit. There's so much to grieve over. For instance, my ribs, waiting to lie down in the grass, waiting to become a playground for beetles, feast for crows. I call this inevitability. And this, me, here, a delay, an act of preservation. But here, let go of my hand. Whatever happens, happens. And I want to leave before I forget, discard the memory of how to. I may be sometime, but I so want to leave, have to leave. I'm just going out, outside. This is bog bodies. We rise from the bog, skin wet and squelching, glistening in the thick, damp sunlight. The word around town is that we were lucky to escape. Our hands have dried to crisps, brown and curling like dead ferns, and we smell like rotting things. Our bodies, soft stacks of gassed rabbits, eyes, brown apples. When a rescue party is sent out across the marsh for those who didn't escape, we join it. Perhaps because we are kind, but almost certainly because we are sick in a way no one else understands. There are no survivors. Words of bone spat out of a bitter, gummy dark. Grass heals beneath our bruised knees. It is all too easy to stay here. Our skin turns to mould. One fat bog, 19 dead, 19 nights of survivor's guilt, 19 weeks, 19 months, 19 years. We pull the bodies from the bog. Some are leather, boneless, liquid men and women, pickled, preserved, drowned in a womb of vinegar and birthed in a clamour of screams and tight-knit prayers. God's name spilling from pink lips, eyes worn red. The worst are those who are drowned when the weather was warm, when the air clung and the wasps hovered before the apples of our eyes. Skin falls tender from their bones. Even the insects don't want them. This is trauma as a loving beast. Dear you, dear lover, dear port of call, you left your bedroom light on last night. No, because I saw it. No, because it showed me the way home. Light high above your garden, above rhododendron sea, above the snowdrops, the wild garlic. Remember when we kissed here? Remember when it rained? You, lover, my port of call. There's a storm brewing. lilac waters, clouds, bruised things. Light in your window, a ship on the sea. Lover, you know how it is. You know my ache, don't you? You've held it, lain with it. You'd know that it isn't the beast you might imagine. Like you, it has been called lover. Like you, it has been called bedfellow. I didn't mind. It only bruised me sometimes. An elbow in my ribs during the night. Otherwise, it's a soft thing. A small thing. Something you can cup in your hands, doe-eyed, all coltish-limbed. Some form of life not yet charted. Lover, does it make you jealous? Jealous to share? Angry you have to kick it from the bed each night? This is Genesis as told by Sappho. When I'm 15, I fall in love with a girl for the first time. Try, for my mother's sake, to teach myself how to believe that it isn't real, that this love got sent to the wrong address. Mama, I fail. When I'm 15, I fall in love with a girl for the first time. Discover how to move through these spaces, how to find my way through this dark room. Hands learn how to palm pitch black, pulpy, sticky, sweet as a night in summer. When I'm 15, I fall in love with a girl for the first time. Love as sweat-slick skin, as insistent press of wet muzzle into my hand, as language breakdown. Love as very first creation myth. In the beginning, there was love, and love, and love. When I'm 15, I get told I'm a sick thing, but I feel fine. Anonymous sends me a message. Is it her who you love? And I feel fine. Message goes unanswered. Message gets eaten by God. Message gets eaten by God, and I feel fine. I am fine, and I think I am good at pretending that I don't love her. But I forget my own creation myth. In the beginning, there was love, and love, and love, and God said it was good. When I'm 19, I know how to palm the thickness of this shadow, know how to feel it, know how to move through the spaces girl I love leaves behind. Learn to not think about her mouth, instead swallow churches. Instead, become the toast on her kitchen table, become the duvet that suffocates. When I'm 19, I can't see my hands no more. Can't see through syrupy black. No light of God to speak of. Sun snuffed out. Flashlights all out of batteries.
And I give you David Spittle. And I give you David Spittle.
Hi. I was going to start with a poem that was kind of site-specific as well. This is about just outside of Bamburgh Castle. There was an archaeological dig that found lots of people there from all over Europe and North Africa, so it's kind of interesting, all on the northeast coast in medieval times. So this is called Bowl Hole Cemetery. We chew grammar of burial, crossing ground, teeth and soiled tongues with signatures of place, lending earth letters of migration, as we keep bones knelt in almost prayer, where families keep remains or remain alone to sleep murmuring, or in wake when roots wake recalling veins, and we still feel the sun rise and fall, and we still feel the ocean sweep, rush of spray through grain, sand and clay of depths, remembering our sentences to say in bodies as they stay in bodies, drawn to neighbour from North Africa in Northumbria, with Scandinavia lowered through dunes, a Europe calling out from Bamburgh, the way we were in movement as the way we are in movement, to find the prone and fetal tapping on dark quartz and dolerite on the underside of earth, to conjugate in circles travelling the bowl, turned in a mixed grave to one another, sowing teeth that ache and bud in reaching fingers, pointing home beneath the gorse. This poem's called We Am. This us that learnt stories from she who wrote with he hands and he voice a song for I, like we am here in this hotel as here we talk out of each and in turn as us alone, with or without complementary soap, tell ourselves apart from that which was once us, held to be in either one as me, like you without me, or you like me without you. Without you, this falls apart, and this we dreamt, when apart fell I. Ours opened eyes and saw she as she blinks this. We forgot that other eye as he in ours, waiting for what had once been ours. To conclude with what was without what was. Not yet with, out of with. As we would, with what was and was without, be better without conclusion. Not the sleeping staring me, but being without being here. She cut himself to continue. With what was without and without what was stories, myself remembered in the spaces of she. I'll just find the other poems. Apologies. Okay, this is a short poem called Dear Estranged. There was pollen, a misdirected joke about your hat. My floundering had become visible. So many books to read, too many, and so it's a choice of who and when to commit that buckles knees, palms clammy with indecision. But you're bearing up. I've been here all my life and have little sense of having learnt how best to use what it is I've learnt. So much dressing up, and then you take it off, convinced the others are also effortlessly, confidently naked. Yet I never thought to tell you how I only felt when pushed, talked up onto no brink. There was sunlight, and the ants were sure of where to go. You couldn't say we'd found each other. It meant as much as all the water, to be living like matchsticks, our heads unlit and itching. And I'll just read one more. This is called Anti-Samsara. It's a little bit longer, but I'll try and not outstay my welcome and get through it. So, Anti-Samsara. Bridges built from nothing but the desire for there to be bridges. It was not a key that opened every door, but that every door was left ajar. He hadn't always begrudged the happiness of others. The front door was purple when we bought the house, and has stayed that way. If you break open the dry stems of certain plants, you will find a snoozing grub. Even in death he was tall. Carried on 4 shoulders, his coffin brushed branches. We need to buy a new mattress, but don't want to spend the money. I watched Tokyo Story for the first time and found it gently upsetting and drawn out. The frying pan is always shedding unidentified burnt detritus into our food. There was a storm in Scotland, and we felt the wheezing insistence of its edge. He was born at death's door and died in an instant of living for the first time. She reached over for the toilet paper to discover only a bare cylinder of cardboard. They were in love, sporadically, erratically, and without fail together. Grandad was up to his knees in duckweed and alerted us to a sense of autumn. She would say, "It's funny how things turn out," with a note of sadness. Lungs were taken from its body and hung like limp baggage over ceremonial antlers. After they kissed, she asked him, "What now?" To which he replied, "We improvise." As a child, he was disappointed by America, hoping that the air would taste new. The grapes she had purchased were surprisingly good. The sun came up, hovered, conversed and sank. 40,000 men were sent out on German U-boats, 30,000 never returned. My brother is a real and functioning member of society. He carries it off well. Condensation on that particular window at that particular moment looked revelatory. They hadn't seen each other for years and so much had changed. Yet they both knew. The splinter was invisible and the pain made him feel a sense of cosmic shame. First you try to break the windows, and then you are the windows, they laughed. In the beginning, there was a feeling that there should be more. We had a cousin who laminated flakes of skin as an artistic response to his psoriasis. There was such joy to be felt in savouring the clasp of fingers around a hot mug. In the morning, he saw his face in the mirror, where it later stayed without him. We went to school together, and while he never really talked, I always trusted him. There was a long worm weaving its length like Ariadne's thread through both eyes. They yelled, "Surprise!" and then somebody muttered, open brackets. The table had been eaten on, fucked on, drawn on, cried on, danced on, and died on. It read strangely and without reason, which apparently made it all the more likely. We reared the salamander on dead flies and the milk of human kindness. He was dyslexic from an early age, but the fascism came later. Once we used not to ask these questions, and now we question why that was. He stared at the big toe on his left foot for 2 days without moving, eating or sleeping. Mother ate her children and then, cradling father's head, tried to recall their names. No one wanted to talk about it, but it was bound to come up. The word mogul sounded alien on her lips and suitably lumped upon the tongue. The fox had killed all the chickens and left their bodies piled in a headless heap. We were earnestly disingenuous and genuinely saw this as a positive. Remember to leave the door open, otherwise the smoke will build up and trip the alarm. I am living, and it is proving to be a strange way to be.
And I give you Julie Ray.
story is called Rattle. We spent the afternoon taping flyers to the wine-coloured barks of the maple trees that lined the streets. Your gap-toothed smile stared back at us, crooked school tie and favourite pink bow. I only had one poster left in my bundle. I smoothed it flat against the wood, pasting down the edges with duct tape. I read somewhere that all Stradivarius violins were carved from maple. I stored this away so I could tell you about it later. Your mother shambled across the road towards me, tipping out her empty cardboard box. "We need to print more," she croaked. Her voice sounded as thin as a wire. We gathered our belongings and headed for home. Before we left, I turned around to stare. The trees were gnarly, like old men stooped over praying. They'll watch over you, I thought. That, at least, gave a little comfort. It was hard to leave. The image of your face repeating down the street like a grey echo. Your mother was making a lamb casserole the day a police officer tapped on our door. I blinked hard at him, expecting some salesman, certain he had the wrong address. He assured me sadly that he hadn't. He held a navy blue cap in his hands, twirling the brim of it between his fingers as he hovered on the edge of our sofa. From the kitchen, cooking pots gently clattered and a warm breeze drifted in from the open windows, making the curtains swell. I cleared my throat and called for your mother. She held a grubby dish towel, and with every word he said she wound it tighter around her wrist. He stared at his notebook and told us that a bike had been found, abandoned by the side of a narrow lane. Purple handlebar streamers, cherry-coloured mudguard, a faded playing card placed in the spoke of the back wheel. We both buckled. An accident, a hit and run. But the officer pinched the bridge of his nose, flipped open the notebook and instead asked us if we could describe you. I know he wanted information about the colour of your eyes, distinguishing marks, your age, but I wanted to yell that you wear woolly socks to bed because your feet get cold, that you cried for 2 days after accidentally squashing a snail on our path, that it's me you cry out for if you have a bad dream, that you were just a little girl going for a bike ride on a sunny day. Instead, in a dismembered voice, I told him your eyes are green, a deep subterranean green, that you have a toffee-coloured birthmark on your ankle shaped like Corsica, and you turned 10 years old in May. He asked for a picture, so we gave him your school photo. Chestnut brown hair, crooked tie, your favourite pink bow. They returned your bike to us. I asked them to put it in the garage and it sits there, like an open wound, like a mute witness propped against the far wall. I had to place a tarp over it. At night, I dream that I hear the flip, flip, flip of the playing card as it rattles and spins against the back wheel of an abandoned bicycle. I get up in the middle of the night, sitting at the dining table doing crosswords. This is how I discovered Heartspoon is the name for the small hollow at the base of the breastbone. I stored this away so I could tell you about it later. They told us that 2 boys, while throwing rocks at supermarket trolleys in the canal, noticed something lodged in its muddy banks. They chucked stones at it for a while before realising it was a limp grey arm, snapped at the elbow like a wishbone. I can't sleep at night. There's too much shrapnel behind my eyes. Your eyes were green, a deep subterranean green. Thank you.
And I give you Sean Wai Keung.
The most important principle is the principle of never looking back, even if you are in a Yorkshire church misted with incense smoke, and even if, instead of you, it's your cousin standing at the altar, looking more Chinese than you ever will, and even if the poor, kind Christian minister sitting in the back has no idea what's going on and you have no idea what's going on, but you know that part of never looking back is never asking why, and in the pub afterwards, when someone asks you how to properly show respect without offending your culture, you must be honest and say that you don't know the rules, and thank them for worrying, and thank them for asking. The principle of yin. Yin is the feminine founding element, which isn't to say that yin promotes the buying of daughters or the Hollywood dragon lady archetype in which an Asian woman is defined by her aggressive and domineering behaviour. See Lucy Liu's character in Kill Bill. And in fact, a truer example of yin is to be found in the deepest parts of Pornhub.com, where under a video titled "Busty Big Dick Asian Gives Self Pleasure," the top comment reads, "I wish I had that all the way inside me, right the way into my stomach." The principle of yang. Yang is the masculine founding element, which isn't to say that yang promotes patriarchs selling daughters, or the Hollywood yellowface archetype in which a white male actor plays a stereotypical Asian male. See Mickey Rooney's character in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And in fact, a true example of yang is to be found in the deepest parts of Pornhub.com, where under a video titled "Busty Big Dick Asian Gives Self Pleasure," the top comment reads, "I wish I had that all the way inside me, right the way into my stomach." You are mistaken. No, my life isn't more interesting than yours. No, I don't watch anime. No, I'm not especially good at maths. No, I don't want to go back to Hong Kong. No, my mum speaks to me in English, albeit in a slightly northern accent. No, I don't eat roasts every Sunday. No, I think English food is okay too. No, I don't think I'm exotic. No, I don't have any siblings. Isn't it strange how there's a whole spectrum of familial emotion I will never have access to? No, I haven't seen every Hong Kong film ever. No, I don't have anything in common with that other half-Chinese person you know. No, I'm not rich at all. No, I don't think racism is getting bad. I think racism has always been bad. No, I can't grow facial hair. No, I don't blame white people. No, I don't think China should own Hong Kong. No, I don't write translation poetry. No, I don't dye my hair black. No, I don't know any triads. No, I won't tell you anything about my dick. Just read my poems. No, I can definitely say the letter L correctly. No, I'm not okay. No, I've never cosplayed. No, I haven't lived in China. No, I don't want to write angry poems about my life. No, I don't want to be labelled as a political or racial poet. No, I do think the world is a pretty good place. No, I can't set you up with any hot Asian girls. No, I don't drive an Audi. No, I don't want to go to Japan, at least not until they apologise for their war crimes. No, I don't think Jackie Chan is that great. No, I haven't read much classical Chinese literature. No, I haven't read much classical English literature. No, I don't know why Chinese guys won't date you. No, I've never eaten dog. No, I've never met the Queen. No, I don't want to take your job. If anything, I would quite like to not have to work. No, I don't think that Asian racism is more acceptable than black racism or white racism or female racism or male racism or trans racism. No, I don't think I know everything. No, I do want a hug. No, I don't want to watch Sailor Moon. No, I haven't always been this way. No, I don't like pandas. No, I'm not Malaysian. No, I'm not a very happy boy. No, I don't remember the handover. No, I'm not asleep. My eyes are just like this. No, I can't grow body hair. No, I don't want to ignore my own privileges. No, I'm not hardworking because I'm Chinese. I'm hardworking because working hard is the only way to make the day go faster. No, I'm not quiet because I'm Chinese. I'm quiet because I don't have much to say to you. No, I don't know Kung Fu. No, I do still worry about the future. No, I don't wish I was fully one way or the other. No, I don't want to talk about politics with you. This is a fucking garden party, not the Houses of Parliament. No, I don't have an English nose. No, I'm not interested in hearing your funny story about your time backpacking in China. No, my childhood was mostly okay. No, I don't think Ai Weiwei is that great. No, I really am Chinese, trust me. No, my views on things change all the time. Is that really a bad thing? No, I don't think I'm a better human being than you. No, I've never brought a rice cooker in with me to my university library so that I can cook rice at the same time as studying. Although I have to admit, that is a pretty good idea. No, I think fortune cookies are disgusting in all possible ways. No, I'm not a Buddhist. I actually find Buddhism to be quite depressing. I mean, it's all about suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering. No, I won't join your Asian writers group. Unless you pay me, of course, because fuck knows I need that money. No, I can't get you a discount on your local takeaway. No, I don't want to be the next Sarah Howe. No, I really am British, trust me. No, I'm not academically gifted. No, I don't want to have sex with robots. No, I won't speak Chinese for you. No, I don't write poems in Chinese. No, I have no idea how to fix your iPhone. No, I don't think Charlie Chan as a character was a turning point for white attitudes towards the portrayal of Asian men in Western media. No, I'm not a communist. No, I'm not Singaporean. No, I don't have many friends. No, I was never part of a chess club. No, I don't think race is talked about enough in British poetry. No, I do think China does do some things better, for instance, customer service. No, I do think Britain does some things better, for instance, pub culture. No, I've never been to Beijing. No, I don't read Shakespeare. No, I still don't believe that I fully understand myself. No, I won't look over that poem you wrote about that Chinese girl you used to know. No, I don't like prawn crackers. No, I don't like hentai. No, I don't think China's going to take over the world. No, I don't enjoy the British Museum. No, I won't stop being who I am. Don't you know that it's impossible for me to artificially change like that? And of course, if I was given the choice, I would change a few things about myself. No, I don't think anyone ever doesn't want to change some things about themselves. No, I don't always follow my own principles. That would completely defeat the point of having them.
Helen McClory.
Good book.
Poetry. And I give you Helen McClory.
These are some poems I wrote while in Brazil. Ilha dos Gatos. No sense in the name. I can see there is a dog, though. A dog, brown mutt, shepherd-sized, and roughly shaped like a scaled-down photocopy of the breed. Running in the heat across the beach in time to dance music, with its tail down, tongue out. A scowl of blue over the hills of the coast is spreading towards us. Rain soon. There, it trails down in lines to the water, moving this way. The dog rushes to my side to shake. I meet you today. You turn over my sandals on a rock with intent while I am bathing so they do not burn my feet. Rain now hits the sand in pellets. Someone is yelling. The music that was playing is no longer playing. The visitors, brace in a line or stand awkwardly behind the low branches of yellow fruit trees until there is no reason to stand there. The wind makes the coconut palm menacing. Our boat arrives but cannot go close to shore. We must ride out on a jet ski, which requires timing and arm strength to haul ourselves up in ones or twos. Then, gripping with thighs and hands, helping my companions and bracing myself at once, the smack of the Atlantic, full-body unfamiliarity. Out to the boat, jump in, bags soaked, under eye and bobbing up, then pulling myself dripping to the ladder top and into the boat for the puttering slow journey back to Boisukanga in the cracking rain. I miss the dog in leaving. I miss myself in silently replaying what has happened, is. Boisukanga's swallowing jaw of mountains arrives in a V, slow as the boat from behind mists in folds of blue, a colour slowly clearing as the sky had earlier slowly concealed itself. These mountains retreating, us advancing, mostly quiet. There are birds overhead that have silhouettes like dinosaurs or dragons. Great bent wings and forked tails. I know what nothing is, but have the sense of an immensity of space, of a fold between myself and the world around me, the world before. I carry my own fluttering veil and lie birthing myself tongueless on it. No one can say what shape my headlands will take, what language I will find behind the storm. And so for now the water is the only thing that I am comfortable with. Take comfort in the seawater and the heavy rain. This is It Rains 4 Days Without Stopping. Except on a screen, a lens of water, the sun or something like it trembles over. What does it mean to see anything more than once? To play more than one thing? What do you think about the way folk pass through the room, singularly bright in their flesh, holding their coffee cups as if it doesn't matter if they spill through a white shed as rain falls, rain falls, rain falls, rain falls, still as a flood without meaning, gently without meaning anything. The beams are not bone. A small blue inflatable ball pushes an inflatable donut around the overflowing pool, while insects chirrup and the frogs and the rain comes down. A shared space like this. Frog company, insect, Human company changes the timbre of writing. Rain changes it. It sounds like applause. Everything you write listening to a downpour, you can make believe is well regarded. So the thing is to resist resisting. Set aside metaphor. Do only what can be done, I tell myself against the din. Type, listen, wait, make. Stamp nothing. Have no doubts, only live with this. What use am I to a palm fronds if I do not make art from their image? Environmental instabilities. Going into Boisukanga with another set of eyes, yours, whose gaze highlights the third world going on about us, the unfinished sense of chaotic creation, mess of growth, decay, DIY signs for a past election painted on a wall, now overgrowing with black mould, half-finished plots of land, a field becoming a swamp in all this rain. Transformations, trans-fucking-formations. Dogs take themselves amiably for walks. A bin bag of rotten papaya has exploded seedily over the sodden pavement. A car knocks over a short pole that wears an outfit for reasons that I cannot ascertain. I stink of mosquito repellent. I am clammy to my bones. All my clothes hang limp against my skin. Against my skin the world presses. Warm, wet scents. Later, damp in the studio, I watch another artist stipple and dab at a painting on the wall of something that looks like a comet crashing through the atmosphere, orange and blue fire. I think, I must proceed carefully. I must preserve my edges, but my edges are barely visible to me. They are rolling out for spore production. I want to throw myself fully clothed into the pool and let the water eat my yells. I am so shaking with this warm chill. A mist has come down from the dark forested hillside and covered me like a mother. Sometimes I let my eyes relax and pretend I'm lost in thought, though all I do is observe, exist, enjoying the quiet industry of the artists, the sound of the rain, which is myself. When the rain stops, as it does now, for even hours, the sound of the basketball hitting the wet courtyard is not as comforting as its lost beat. And think, if I could recreate this place and time for other people, what would it mean? Would it speak to them of itself? What use is creating, recreating, transforming, trans-fucking-forming, scribing for others the seedifying moment in my life into a moment in your life? A space, a gift, a mood, a warning of crumbling boundaries, to say something profound, to say something at all, or only to reassure myself I saw a frog hop on a flooded patio, and it saw me, and panicked, and hopped, hitting a planter in its haste to be away. And yet I stand without metaphors, coming back to this, myself and creating myself and the rain. Got one more. Just pull it up. Sorry. Scrolling down through all my poems. Okay. This is called Places Everyone. I sift tapioca in the kitchen. You sway to a song blasting out of portable speakers. I scribble in my notebook from my vantage point on the wall. You bend your head over a drawing, fingers getting dirty. I try to buy wine in my non-existent Portuguese. You spark the lighter against the filter of your cigarette to dry it out. I imagine writing a finer version of this poem. You read aloud from Moby Dick. I need to be kissing your mouth and not stopping. What you need is, I suppose, not anything like so idle or catastrophic. But I am wrong a little, and you are leaning over your guitar, pausing before a choice of song. I swim out into the ocean under the Milky Way, kicking my legs, watching a shooting star. You swim out into the ocean under the Milky Way, kicking your legs, watching a shooting star. Waiting for the surf to tumble us and crash, a violence too sudden not to be real. Like this is something this vast, indifferent universe is putting on to show us that it does, in fact, care enough to hurt us. If only none of this mattered. If only it was only desire. This terrible thing that has happened.
And I give you Rachel Plummer.
Iris, the hardest granny in the world. Iris was barely a girl when she first became stone. Got on her hands and knees in the dirt and let the curve of her back become upland. It took years to let that stillness settle into bones that were turning to granite. But Iris was implacable. She wouldn't be swayed by the voices of men who praised the softness she was trying to abandon. She wouldn't feed the animal in her, wouldn't let it rest in the cupped hands of the earth. After 10,000 years, she was soil. Damp and secret, she hid the roots of the trees that grew through her spine. How long before she hardened into rock? Squatting on the land in her limestone wrinkles. Here, put your hand on the mountain that was once a girl. Feel how it rises. See how Iris has outlasted all the girls she grew up with. She says that the trick to long life is to lose all your sweetness. She's seen every crystal of tender mined from her veins, all weakness weathered from her bones. Iris, the hottest granny in the world. This is how the mountain dies. Iris takes a deep breath and exhales ash. Something inside her is unsettling itself. Something starting to pool and bulge, to swell her shape. The grey clouds of her hair have shrunk into wisps. The lakes of her eyes are acidic, black. Iris can't keep all her bile in. She can't hold it back. For centuries now, she's been warming to this. And she can't blow her chance, now it's come. The rock is forgiving itself, learning how to be gentle at last. Nothing has ever been so hot. It's a heat that the ground can't contain, and it starts to spill out at the edges. Iris gasps, and trees fall to the ground. Mud rushes to kiss her feet. Her lungs are liquid. Iris opens her melting throat, and the voice she's been holding inside of the mountain erupts from her mouth like a song. So that's a character that I write a lot about, called Iris. She's a granny, she has lots of adventures, and I really like poems that tell stories and have characters. And they're a bit surreal, but every one of them is completely true. And this one is called Waldorf Astoria. It's another quite local one. The morning the tide rose and flooded Princes Street, the statues held their breath. Benches drifted. Pigeons were fitted with aqualungs, and the castle was an island. In cobbled rock pools, children fished for the spokes of bicycle wheels. All messages were bottled. Tram lines slithered, steel-bright eels in the deep seaweed, and Arthur's Seat was a cliff face full of puffins. That was the morning roses from the public gardens water-lilied the roadways. The Scott Monument's peak broke the dark surface like a sea stack, while in the dining room of the Caledonian Hotel, breakfast plates were laid. Blue-white opened oysters on the tablecloth's silky bed. The silver cutlery swam like shards of sun the sea had caught in its herring nets, and napkins fanned themselves into scallops, into perfect, soft-edged scallops, as if in expectation of you. I'm going to finish with another Iris poem. This is Iris, the oldest stripper in the world. Iris takes off the dress she was buried in. Under it, her skin has become a new dress, hung from thin wire shoulders. This she removes, lets fall. How new she is beneath, how ancient blue her veins, their lace over the muscle. These are harder to detach. Her skinned fingers struggle to remove them. Once muscle stripped and bare, the softness of organs is tipped from the rib bars, the jug of her hips. Her audience is warming to the show. They want to tuck their silver into bones before they're gone. They know the body's knack for fading and how fast a life's undone. The hair, the voice, that taste of carbon lingering in air. It cannot last. Thank you.
And I give you Sally Evans. Colin.
Behind us. Okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Where her mother took her. The strangest place her mother took her yet. Water sloshes through the boggy sky. It has a power of glamour, but it's wet. From their last quarters, which they'll soon forget, they hired a van to bring their luggage dry to the strangest place her mother took her yet. Rootless again, they sought new routes to set in this unlikely tower, the moss nearby that has a power of glamour but is wet. Unrepaired roofs above the parapet. It has a beauty that's about to die, the strangest place her mother took her yet. And into the gloomy orchard meadows blet, and through the marshes deer approach and pry. It has a power of glamour, but is wet. In this extreme, squelchy, remote, she'll fret, and soon she'll quit, like a rare butterfly, the strangest place her mother took her yet. It has a power of glamour, but is wet. A child will make imaginary friends, and speak of how they dream and dance and fight, and at the crack of dawn return to marks of ink, and how we sigh, befriending unreality, imaginary words that can amuse. In the reality of the unreal, our dreams surround us, overflow their banks, and their anarchic lives, beyond restraint, engulf us, become preferable to the thin, embattled worlds from which we need escape. But layers of unreality are everywhere. We have no answer, and the child is right. These are facets of ourselves. They probe, asking unanswerable questions. Now they are seen. We cannot unsee them, imagined stronger than ourselves. They stretch our power, which fails like river banks, where stone and trees are held almost forever, but have a limit to their force. To keep the power we need for looking back and forward both at once, while held in the oblivion of reality, we use our words like magic, props to our imagination. The real world really isn't all we have. And the last one is called At a Waterfall. 1,000 losses swirl where the waterfall rushes down under tree roots, through pools, over ruins, stone workings, the mountain slope, where the kirkyard's wall steals under woods. Graves gone from both sides of the wall, a few barred from the kirk at the ancient holy site. An absence of 2 marble slabs that marked relatives by marriage, their long stones obliterated, tidied away by locals. They equally as lost as the ancients who courted here, while the waterfall shifted upstream over thousands of years. Your day too will be forgotten. I collected a friend from the wilds for your woodland burial in Edinburgh, and walked with thoughts of you, composing a special poem in the glen of trees and water. Everything disappears here, even the poem I wrote for you. Thank you.
And I give you Angelina D'Roza. All right. Angelina D'Roza.
Very good. Okay, the first poem that I'm going to read is called Self-Portrait with Son. My son's an adult now, but no one prepares you what it feels like to have to let them go. Self-Portrait with Son. Too much to say. I say this whole hilltop was abundant with buckthorn and horses, mares trampling wiry bramble from the pheasant to bell house, to stand at the junction and wait for the shy green wind to blow through them, the way spring blows through a city. And then you were born, and here we are, returned to the horseshoe, a game of darts, the sky falling in through a derelict roof. Floorboards have begun to panic flower harebells, little bluish groupies you gather for the table, as though you're not listening. But I know you hear it all these things to say about love and letting go, that it's possible to figure time in the damselfly, among the glittering row of optics, that every flight the length of the bar is a day gone, whole months counting a measure more or less of light, the way light comes to imitate moving on. You take my hand and only say, have faith, and my heart is like a damselfly caught under a glass, held to the sky, its bejewelled and clamorous beating.
Third person.
I know, it's very intimate. Okay. So I've been spending some time in the Middle East, and where I am, they have put a lot of effort into creating green spaces in the desert, and I've been very grateful for that.
Because when I filled in the form,
Trees.
I had to fill out like a student card.
Here is wood smoke and mirrors, a thought paused mid-migration and fed to the parakeet, who sings all the ways this is not there, and I am neither. I might be water flooding the wadi and soaking the summer roots. Such a delicate tree has no means to express me, any more than it has the wherewithal to discard me. There's a gold souk where the wadi runs, with a gold raptor in the window. I've passed it so often I've named him Raoul, so you see I have power. There are scarlet macaws in the pet souk, by sacks of rosebuds and turmeric. Parakeets are 10 a penny is what I mean. Trees are like gold, but gold is like dust. I fall to turning every leaf, and because I don't know what I'm looking for, I count the flamingos in their sleep, their pink heads tucked in their pink bodies, little pink thought clouds. I think about you, is what I mean, and trees. How cut in two a tree is a measure of weather over time, each ring an exclamation laid down in the dark, waiting its day.
Ja, ik ben ook behoorlijk goed in fantaseren hoor.
In Amsterdam heb je een roltrap, hè? Roltrap.
Marginalia. In Tibetan, shul is the impression left after whatever made it has gone. Stretch marks, tan lines, the reputed guilt of a Catholic childhood. She heard this from her therapist, an imaginary man up Nether Edge who waters never plants and talks in her sleep. He trails Isimayaki where he walks back and to in front of a giant bay window. No snow or tangerines, only Prokofiev, while he listens to her quiet. This quiet is more shul than nothingness and must be given due respect.
She thinks it's like the grass on Loose Hill, that doesn't muddy where others have been, but tilts gold at certain times of day and leads her down from the top. Her therapist doesn't see it, puts faith in etymology and diet. He perseveres. His voice still sounds when the words stop, a medicinal humming, shull. She's grateful for the language that names the silent weight of you. Your handprint, for example. She feels the pressure of fingertips between ribs, a palm on her stomach. When she undresses, she waits for the smell of skin, not hers, then folds herself into bed, careful to leave space for an arm, a shoulder. Darling, I love these velvet nightlights. I lullaby these nightingales. Darling, I look these velvet nights. I've never been able to decide whether I look you most in the eternal half-light years that blindfold with deadbeats, or in the full fanlight of migration, or perhaps in the looks of noon. Anyway, I look you most. I luminous you most. And you phone me just because you phone me tonight. I walked on those telling wits for 2 hourglasses after holding your look like parentheses to balance me. She sits through all the gradations of light. They are 38 by her count. She disregards melancholy as self-reflexive, like the woman who names herself in her number of great loves. Lamplight too. She's seen the desert, where day is only off or on, except once at 4 a.m, when everything was blue. She tells her therapist so. He leans in like a crack willow seeking sunshine, asks about all that dazzles. But she tells him the moon there wanes from head to toe. None of this side-to-side equivocation. Tonight, the light over her garden is a TV that won't turn off. It is fairy stories and reruns of Blind Date. Its afterglow burnt on the inside of her eyelids. Crouched at the foot of the Colliery Monument, she feels its solidity against her back. This must be why she came here as a child, to rest against something more sure than herself, to look on the city shrunk to a manageable size. The council flats of claywood that hid her are gone, but a tarmac blueprint remembers, the ground unmoved to grow anything new. She looks in the mirror, is trying to read her face backwards. Your writing was always beautiful, if hard to take. She traces the words across her collarbone, the marginalia of her throat, onto antique paper like a school project, one of those brass-rubbing flower-press days where teaching is somewhere deep in the process, not at all what she thought she'd learn. She creases the paper in half, doesn't know where to send it. Darling, our fairyland is almost ended, our falsity, our falsetto tambourine. I'm so sorry for all the miserable misapprehensions, the tinctures, the tinderboxes, for all the miserable miracles I've caused you when we could have been so happy. Darling, our faith, our faithful, our fallacy is almost ended. I think our lifetime together will be like these last 3 deadbeats. I wish you, I witness you, I wolf you. I'm not afraid of anything. And the last poem, called Fairy Tale number 16. The tortoise at last looks up, envies the birds. That was the day we climbed Mam Tor. Gabriella blistered her heels and flirted with a man in a glider who was probably waving back through the sunshine bouncing off his tinted dome of cockpit. She's on tiptoe, hand upstretched, her soft underarm skin exposed, waving like a schoolgirl to the glider, the man, the sky, and we're that close in vest tops, lit with sweat, watching him smooth down the one cloud easy as, I think, if I could just get up there, catch on the wing, let go over the Hope Valley. Gabriella says maybe, but she has a thing for pilots, I have a thing for heights. I hollow my bones with spoons, one of those sets for measuring sugar. The tablespoon works my sternum, but my collarbone, the bones in my wrists, only take the 1/4 teaspoon. You dig out each of my vertebrae, the heart of my pelvis, for weeks, my marrow under your nails. Another man tied himself to 100 helium balloons today, set himself sail over Glossop. They are not all red like the song, or blue like the ones along the Berlin Wall. I love balloons let go, the South Koreans sending news north, or Maori kites flying letters to the gods. Sometimes I think about this when I think about you. So much depends on wind speed, direction. I watch the footage, mute the commentary, trying to predict A, when he'll land, and B, where.
Sarah, can you voice for a second? Can you film for me? Can you all come down here? Thank you. You done it? Yeah. Come on. Want to come on in here?
Ja, even tijd om het.
Are we good? We all good? Everybody here? Yeah? Hello, my name is Helen Bateman and this is With Me and Your Breath. All bow. I give you Zara Munro. Sorry. I give you David Spittle. Give you Julie Ray. Wai Keung. Helen McClory. Rachel Plummer. Sally Evans. Angelina D'Roza. Thank you.
And just take photographs from me. Is that okay?